Welcome back. Thank you for being with us here. We're at tnoozLIVE at studio at the Arival event in Las Vegas. I'm here with Jose. Introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Hi, I'm Jose from Amigo Tours. We are a tour company. We run over 250 tours in 7 countries.
And you're the biggest in Mexico, right?
In Latin America, correct.
So that's pretty big.
Yes. We have over 240 tours every day running, from cultural tours, day tours, food tours. We are in Mexico, Brazil, Cuba, London, Spain.
Wow.
Yes.
So 250 tours a day.
A day.
How many guests would come through those tours?
This year we're going to be over 1 million passengers in 1 year.
So 1 million passengers, 200. That's a lot. It's incredible.
Yes.
So walk me through the technology that you guys use, and why you came to Arival to learn about new options, and walk me through how you do 1 million guests a year.
Yes, it's quite a challenge. Yes, basically we specialize on selling B2B. We have all these guests coming from companies, online companies, wholesalers, and contracts all around the world.
So do you direct sell to consumer or not at all? You're always kind of...
Yes, but it's a small percent of the customers.
And was it always that case? Did you always focus on the B2B, or did you start just small and then?
We have been in the market for 12 years.
Okay.
We started with one van selling in one of our hotels in Mexico City.
Wow. So you started this company?
Yes.
You did this. You had one van, and now
Yes.
you're doing 1 million passengers a year.
Correct.
That's crazy. That's amazing. So how did you grow? What were some of the challenges? So if I'm a tour operator here, maybe my first conference I've ever been to here at Arival,
Okay.
and I have one van in Mexico, and I want to be 1 million, I want to be your competitor or something, but what did you learn? What could you share?
Well, this growth could not be possible selling one-on-one. All this growth has been together with our partners. Many partners such as Viator, Veltra, Get Your Guide, etc. Passing from 10 passengers a day to 1 million passengers a year in 22 cities cannot be impossible selling one-on-one. So they are key for us. The distribution has been great. The big challenge is creating new experiences, unique experiences that we have. But the key of growth has been that. Yeah. We got our first partner 8 years ago. Was a Latin American company that we supply tours and transfers in Mexico City, and from that has been grown and grown and grown.
So do you find, let's get into some of the maybe dirtier details here, but commissions and the things that you're paying to go through these networks.
Yes.
Is it worth it?
It is. We do not spend in marketing.
You don't spend at all?
Trips.
Okay. So PR.
Yes.
Kind of, so
PR,
fan trips, things like that.
Fun trips.
Okay. Does that include influencer marketing too? That kind of thing, where you get the bloggers? Does that?
We do not do a lot of blogs. We do not do Google ads because we do not compete to our partners. They do their part of selling. We do our part of making tours, operating tours. So we do not do. So we complement very well ourselves.
So I think one of the key lessons that tells me is that do what you do well,
correct,
and maybe leave the other stuff to the partners that can do it better than you.
Correct.
And then that's worth the cost.
Yes.
Because you're paying them for a service, and the service is to not have to have the headaches of doing that part of the business.
Correct.
Right. So would you say if I'm very margin sensitive, I'm a supplier who doesn't like giving the commissions, what would you say to me to encourage them to just understand the value, I guess, of these partners?
many companies work a lot in looking at the margins. We look at the volume.
So volume first.
Volume first. Of course, you target the margin depending on the source, depending on everything. Sometimes you have a very low margin. Sometimes a big one.
And when do you decide kind of? Sorry, I'm distracted. That's so loud. There goes some
It's
cups.
Vegas.
Yeah, it's Vegas.
There's sound.
Yeah, and that's boring.
There's noise everywhere. So
it's not a showgirl walking by, you know. So when you're thinking, I'd like to talk about how you choose how to build tours. Is very interesting to me.
Yes.
You know, so obviously a tour costs a certain amount of money. Some tours cost more if you go to a restaurant or you have a chef or something that's doing an experience. How do you make a tour? And do you think of margin first, or is it really the experience first? Or
we have built many tours in different destinations. Of course, it's very different creating an experience in Mexico than in London, in Spain, or in Brazil, even Cuba.
And you mean by the cost of it, like each tour?
The cost, competition. But we saw that it's very different. That people look for the same places. We first look on how much time they spend on destination. Average, it's 1 or 3 or 4 days, even a week, and how many tours will they make on those days, and then they all go to the same attractions and same destinations, but they wanted to do it in a different way.
And they meaning the travelers.
Yes,
travelers.
Yes,
right, gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So
because everyone wants to be different, right? Everyone,
Yes.
like, they don't want to go to the Ferris wheel and see.
They all want to go to Chichen Itza. They all want to go to Sagrada Familia.
Yep.
But they want to do it without crowds, or they wanted to make a special experience in that site, and that's what we create.
Okay.
It's different experience in the same attraction.
And does that mean then that sometimes these experiences are going to cost more money? That you're not going to be price competitive? Or?
Sometimes yes, sometimes not.
Okay. And then when you're pricing it, I know you can't, some of this is probably you don't necessarily want to talk too much about, but when you are pricing the tour, how do you start? You just look at, okay, it costs me the guide, it costs me transportation, et cetera, and you just start with the money and just add a margin on top, or do you really, every tour is different and you just decide?
We have a whole rate plan and challenge. We are now doing a lot of revenue, not only by tour, but by day, by season. So we come from the hotel industry too, where revenue is it's now all. It's you can find the same room one day at 100, the next day at 500.
Right.
So now we are going into that direction with tours.
And we meaning the whole industry, right? You're starting, but a lot of people are starting to do
Yes, this. I think in a couple of years, the tour industry will go into revenue a lot. We all have buses, or the most of us have buses, and we know that sometimes the cost of having a 60 people bus filled with 30 people, it's the same cost as going with 60.
Right, because the bus is there, the fuel is there, the weight of the people is very
and
little,
the seats
right?
And the seats are empty.
So you're telling me this is something I never actually made that connection. So tours and activities in a lot of ways are like hotels, same concept.
Correct.
The beds are empty, the seats are empty.
The difference is that hotels have 100 rooms, and they cannot put more rooms for the next day. We can put more buses for the next day.
You can grow with
Yes.
demand as needed. Right. So that's really fascinating. I think that I'm going to have to talk with more guests this next 2 days about this revenue management aspect. So how would you, as you guys start implementing this idea of a revenue management focus, what are some of the factors you put in? Obviously seasonality. What are some of the other things? Demand, totally, just straight up.
Yes.
Through searches on the website, queries coming through partner websites, you kind of just look at that, or?
Yes, we have a whole team of revenue looking out at our numbers, statistics. For example, if we have 100 people for a tour for the next 2 weeks, they can put the price up.
Yep.
And if a day is kind of empty, the price go down.
And is that something they're doing manually right now, or do you have a
yes,
system?
Now.
Okay, gotcha. But
now it's manual. No, we are looking at some systems now, and some that they can do it like automatic.
And are there any vendors that you're looking at that you can share that are doing this kind of thing? Because I'm still learning. Tours and activities is a huge thing, right? There's just so many moving parts, and everyone kind of competes with each other.
Yes, and, it's running very fast, but it's not like hotel industry that it's like 4 years ahead of us.
Also, because hotels, you can't build a hotel in one day. I mean, you could make a tour for tomorrow. I could tell you that I wanted, like Airbnb trips. I mean, you could easily build another tour if you needed to, right? Like if all of a sudden you had 1,000 inquiries, but you didn't have enough, you could just, let's do, mole, and now we'll do a guacamole class, right? I mean, it's endless. It's very cool.
Endless.
Yeah, right? That's amazing. And so you have a team doing revenue management.
Correct.
That's crazy to me, because I'm still learning so much. I find that as a journalist, tours and activities is kind of something to learn, because like I said, it's so complicated. How many people are on the team?
Revenue team, it's 5 people.
Okay.
In the company, we are over 1,200 people.
And how many of those would be tour guides or on the ground people?
No, that doesn't include tour guides.
Wow, huge.
Yes, huge.
What does it take to launch a new city?
First, analyze demand, analyze the tours, the products that are in the city, and how to create new experiences.
And that's understanding the local market, but also the people going to that market, right? Is that, or is
we
it you need to understand this?
We have different sources. In Spain, many people think that we bring Mexicans to Spain. We don't, because we are a Mexican company. It's people in Spain. We have our sources, maybe Asians, Europeans, some Africans, some markets that don't even think in going into Mexico or Brazil.
Okay. And so you kind of have to watch that and maybe help build some demand maybe too?
Correct.
Like if you wanted to bring more Spanish people to a certain country, maybe that's something you could help with? Is that
there are specific partners in each country.
Okay.
There are global ones such as Get Your Guide, Viator, Veltra, but there are also some local partners in markets that they bring people from their markets to these countries.
And so those partners are important then because of that,
course.
Exactly, right?
We have over 50 partners, from the big ones into the local ones, and sometimes you get a lot of big surprise that a local one gives you more numbers than a global one.
That's something to emphasize, I think, that a local partner can give you more than a global one. So that's important, which also makes it harder to have one partner, right? You need to have many partners.
Many partners.
Which makes it complicated a little bit. But if it's building business for you, it's good.
Yes.
Right. One final question.
Sure.
What do you hope to, why did you come to Arival? What do you hope to get out of this conference?
So the founder of this conference just told a very important thing, is that we attend a lot of conferences. We always hear about flights, hotels, and they spend a little time about tours and attractions. Arival, it's where we all meet, the same people that we meet in a 15,000 people conference, but it's only to talk about how to distribute our tours and activities. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I look forward for a great conference and to share experiences with the colleagues and to talk with our partners here at Arival.
We spoke with Bruce, we showed this a bit earlier when we opened the show, about community. It really is trying to keep this community strong and working together, since you do need to partner so strongly to make it work, right? If you have to have 50 partners around the world, you need to know them and have pretty good relationships.
I think there are here 7 or 8, so I'm glad to see this 7 or 8 in one place. It will save me a lot of trips.
Yeah, a lot of trips, a lot of time away from family and home. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wish you the best conference.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more.